Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Asabe podcast with me, Samrid and Ashwin. It's as you can see, it's freezing here in Delhi. Ashwin is sitting warmly in his jersey in Bombay, where it's nice and pleasant. We're on Twitter at the Asabe. We've got a brand new Facebook page, so please like, share, subscribe. We also are on YouTube, so click the bell icon to get notified when we come up with new videos. Getting into it, Ashwin, Arteta's first game, tough fixture that we thought away at Bournemouth, who've been difficult opponents for us. Not that we've had problems beating them, but going away has been a challenging game over the last few seasons. Um, I was surprised at how we played. I was pleasantly taken aback by how proactive we were on the ball, just really aggressive, winning second balls whenever the occasion asked for it. The lineup as well. He, I didn't think Ozil would start. I didn't think Lacazette would start. So it was a refreshing change. I think the best we've played this entire season so far.
I think what you mentioned, the intensity with which we played was what was very important. And I think Arteta came out in his interview later and he said that he was pleasantly surprised, considering that he had only two training sessions with them. And for them to sort of really take in what he said and do, he didn't really expect. We played with a different sort of intensity. We were passing the ball quicker. We played, even though we played higher up the pitch, you could see the gaps between the lines between defense, midfield, and forward was smaller. So basically, so people can't play around you. And another thing that you mentioned about Ozil was that um, I don't know if it was the sort of play or of the way Bournemouth was set up, but Ozil seemed to be finding a lot of space, and he seemed to be and we kind of saw the Ozil of maybe 3 or 4 seasons ago, where he was picking up that space and providing through balls and assists to the forwards. And had our attack been had they come with their finishing shoes or whatever, we would have easily won the game in the first half only. Lacazette missed some gilt-edged chances. Aubameyang had an off day in front of goal, even though he scored. Our crossing, even though Reece and Saka did a good job, the crossing was pretty poor. But yeah, ominous signs because we looked better as a unit. We looked like we had more energy. The intensity was good, and what was really good was that after a long time we saw our midfield dominating another team's midfield. Like, even though we played a midfield of Xhaka and Torreira, and we've done that for the last 18 months under Emery, under Lundberg. But under Arteta, our midfield looked better. We held 61% of the ball after a long time. We had 17 shots on goal. I know only two of them were on target, but still 17 shots on goal for us. It's going to take some time, but we're seeing signs of the way Arteta wants to play, and it was very very promising. Another thing that I have to we both have slated Shaka a lot in this podcast, so props and credit were due because Arteta was, I mean, not Arteta, I mean Shaka was really good in midfield. I think he controlled the midfield and the tempo was really good. And another good performance was Torreira. I think Torreira made about 11 interceptions and a couple of blocks and had a shot on goal as well. And had a game that we've seen Torreira not have in the last, say, 15 months or so. I think we'd seen him play like this when he initially joined us from Sampdoria. Was it? Yeah. And it's been, say, 15 months and he's not played like that. So for Arteta to bring out the performances in these guys immediately was great to see.
You're right. I think the Torreira and Xhaka, even though that's a midfield partnership that's been used by Emery in the past, yesterday it was, or rather on Boxing Day, it was completely different. They looked like completely different players. Torreira, whenever he had the ball, looked up, breaking up play, looking for Ozil, laying it off for him. Xhaka was seemed quicker as well on the ball. He received the ball, always there for the second ball, laying it off for people. there was also I don't know if you noticed, there was a lot more lesser sideways passing. They were always looking for lines. Yeah, through they were always trying to break through the lines, um, play the ball that would catch the opposition off guard. Um, Both Saka and I feel Nelson grew into the game. They didn't have very good first halves. They were much better in the second half with their crossing. Saka also, interestingly, he seemed to be deployed as more of someone who's supporting the midfield than a fullback completely. So there were times he was when Niles was at the back, but Saka, when we were attacking, Saka was either playing as an additional forward or someone who's just supporting the midfield. So that was also a new facet to our play, which is sort of exciting because it shows that we're now forcing players to play in a way that suits our game as opposed to depending on the opposition. We're proactively going and saying, look, we're gonna attack you. We're gonna take the initiative to you, which is good. Which is something that we haven't seen for a while now. Um, Outside of that, and you're right, Ozil seemed a lot more freer. Whether that had to do with Bournemouth not really being great. He did seem to have a lot more freedom. Also, having four attacking players running and making runs for you also helped. And you're right, we should have won the game in the first half. Lacazette just had an awful day. The couple of through balls in the second half, right towards the end of the game, um, a couple of half turns in the first half, he was just not there. Even when he had the chance to maybe lay it off for someone else, he invariably made the wrong call. So that's something that has been it's been an issue now with him. I'm not sure how long we persist, because I was telling someone this, that we, at where we are in our current stage of this season, we cannot afford to have passengers in the team, and someone who is clinical, someone who's required to take those half chances. Not saying Oba is that guy, or it could be anyone for that matter. But Lacazette has just been having an off season. You and I also spoke about this. He's just been having an off season, and it's not working out as effectively as it should be. Whether that's he's just not his heart's not in it anymore, I don't know. Um, I get it. He's an important player for us, but he needs to come good. And these are games that we're relying on the likes of him and Aubameyang to bail us out. And we should have won that game. You're right. We should have won that game very easily. We should at least two to three goals at least. But overall, encouraging signs of progress, and it's a long way before we need to be where we are. Just one last thing I want to add is that um, you mentioned that the players. Arteta mentioned that he didn't really expect the players to play as they did. My take on that is that it seemed that the players finally have an understanding of what they need to do, where they need to be on the pitch, and that just stems in from what is being communicated to them. I mean, if your bar is really low and you just tell a person to do the right thing and he'll do the right thing and it'll come off as a surprise. So I just think that because we've just been drifting and the players have, and it's a pretty open fact that the players were confused as to what Emery used to say. I just think that they're finally getting a sense of where and what they need to do, what positioning they need to be at, and that in itself just came up as a surprise to everyone watching. So I think they did the basics right, which is what he's been emphasizing anyways, that we need to get the basics sorted out first, and that in itself, I think, was big progress for us, even though it was just very initial baby steps.
I think you're right. I think it's the direction that the players needed, and it's to be honest, these are professionals who played at the highest level. Like some of them who played at the international level, won international tournaments and all, and they suddenly just can't become flops. I think there was a major communication issue, and the fact that Emery kept wanting to change his tactics according to the opposition didn't help either, right? Like under Wenger, the team was so used to, listen, we're not going to care what the opposition does. We're going to set out our way. We're going to play our football, and we're going to control the ball, which was what was there for 22 years. Then you got a manager who, according to modern football, wanted to change his tactics according to what the opposition does. Now, Now there are some managers who can pull it off. I think Mourinho could. Mourinho. There was a time when Mourinho was at when he came through his second spell at Chelsea, or even his first spell at Chelsea. He did that very well. But teams have evolved and teams have changed because there's not just one way of playing in a game, right? A team can figure it out, saying that okay, if they are going to block us by doing this, we're going to try something else, and that happens with the evolution of football. And I think that's something where Emery struggled with is because he planned for something and then didn't have a plan B for when the team would change their tactics. And I think, like you're right, Arteta coming in and telling the players, listen, forget about what the opposition is doing. We'll work on that a little later, but let's just do the basics right. Let's just try and do what we are good at is that attacking, playing fast football, and keeping the hold of the ball. And I think that is what you saw. Very early on, I think when the game was going on, when we were dominating play, I think we were messaging, and I think on the group I mentioned saying that we needed a goal. And I think Arteta mentioned that as well in his interview, saying that when the team was high on confidence, and when the goal didn't come for us, and when it came for Bournemouth, it was very very easily the team could have dropped off, saying that oh, whatever Arteta said has not worked out. So now what do we do? But the good thing is, like what he mentioned, is like the team didn't drop off. They were passionate enough. They fought and they came back, and it was 1-1. We should have actually won it 2-1 in the end when Lacazette had a great chance. I mean, Luis put him through, and he should have scored. But anyway, that's for a different day. I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Both our forwards, Aubameyang and Lacazette, have 18 months to go on their contract. If an offer came in for Lacazette in Jan, would you sell him?
Yes, because I think we're still okay in that department. We will still have Oba. I don't think we'll have either of the players come this summer. But if an offer came in for Lacazette, that the money then could be used to bring in a very difficult period in the season. If you could get someone from midfield who can maybe pitch in with 7-8 goals by till the end of the season, I would definitely take it. I don't think he's been off form, and I think we should just grab whatever came in for him. And I think the same thing will apply to Aubameyang in the summer. It's a major, like, even though we've just started to see green shoots of what Arteta has to do, and it's been encouraging. He's got a major rebuild on his hands, and I would not hesitate to let him go, assuming the bet money is then used to bring it to supplement someone who can bring in take the pressure off Aubameyang and Pepe and Martinelli and everyone else. So yeah, would have no hesitation of letting him go.
All right, fair. So just before we move on to the weekend's game, I wanted to ask you. So obviously, positive signs. Um, Anything else you expected from Arteta over the weekend?
No, I think there was sufficient signs for me to see that the players are listening, and they're just not going to let a manager who hasn't managed a game, and they just not they're not going to listen to him. So the fact that they played the way they did shows to me that they one understood what he's trying to do. Second, there seems to be a beginning of something. I know he's got two very difficult home games against Chelsea United coming up, but I mean it seems to be everything Arteta talked about in his press conference when he joined, and then in the pre-match as well. It seems to be that it's what it's going to be, and it's exciting. I'm glad to be able to be excited about watching us play again. And as of now, I don't think I can ask very much of him, and I shouldn't either, because everyone knows it's going to take a while for us to even have some semblance of competition before we can think about challenging for the top four. So right now, the focus just should be to give himself 6 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it is, whatever the time period that Arteta has got to implement a mentality first, get your basics to a point where it just comes off naturally, and then then take it from there. But hugely positive about the coming few months.
Call me crazy, but I enjoyed the 1-1 draw. I know even though we didn't win, but I enjoyed the 1-1 draw under Arteta a lot more than any of the last games that we've had in the last 18 months under
No,
him.
definitely. There's definitely been. It was like I said. It's been the best game we've played this entire season, and it was a lot more fun to watch just because it there was a semblance of, oh, this is how we used to play,
They used to play, yeah.
and we've lost that. And the number of times we've had similar games and come away with a draw. So that feeling of we should have won that game, which hasn't been there for a while. I mean, you and I have sat here this entire season and said, oh, we're going to lose this game, and I'm not expecting anything. So to come out of a game thinking that, damn, if you should have won, as opposed to, yeah, we didn't really expect anything more than a defeat. So that was good. So if nothing else, just having some semblance of neutrality as opposed to always being being a doom and gloom forecast. I think that in itself is decent, is progress. So
All right. So moving forward, like you mentioned, we've got two tough games coming up at the Emirates. We've got Chelsea and United within the space of 2 or 3 days. Chelsea have had a up and down season campaign as well. They just had a fabulous victory over. I mean, first they went and lost to Bournemouth. Then they went and beat Jose's Spurs. Then they've gone and lost at home to Southampton. So Frank Lampard's also, I mean, he's lost about 7 games, and Sari was sacked for losing 8 games in the whole season. Uh, so again, it comes down to the club legend being favored over somebody else, exactly like how United have its Solskjaer as well. So Chelsea have had an up and down season as well, but again, never an easy team to play against. Whoever under whichever manager they've been, except for Andres Villas-Boas. But apart from that, we've always had a tough game, whether it's been at the Emirates or at Stamford Bridge. They're a very unpredictable side, especially this year where they have youth players throughout their team who can do unpredictable things. Tammy Abrams started really well, so did Mason Mount. But you can see like the Premier League is a different beast, so the performances haven't been as consistent as they would want. And Lampard's also finding out uh, that any team can go and beat anybody right now in the Premier League, and he's seeing that firsthand, right? So what are your thoughts on Chelsea, and how do you think that we're going to line up, and how we're going to set up, and what do you think Arteta is going to do?
no, you said it pretty much. They've been very hit and miss. They seem like they're up for the big games, but at home they've struggled. Bournemouth, I think, have beaten them. They lost to Southampton, who've been hugely impressive this season. So they're going to be coming to the Emirates under pressure because you're right. They have lost 7 games, and Sari was sacked for losing just pretty much about the same number of games. I actually think that we might just do well, and this is not me with this is not me just coming in from the positive impact that we had in the Bournemouth game. I think even if it was Emery, we would have been up for these big games at home, especially. So I have a feeling that will actually do well in these 2 games. Just the basics in itself would be sufficient for us to get some semblance of a result. I'm not saying we'll win, but I think that there definitely will be a much better show than we've had over the last 6 to 7 months. We were horrible against United when we went away. Chelsea we've yet to play, so we're playing them tomorrow, and we're playing them I think early Jan again.
Yeah, I think it's 6
So
weeks to play them twice.
yeah, so I
Yeah,
think in the next 3 weeks we're playing them 3 4 weeks we're playing them twice.
yeah.
So I think Lampard will be under more pressure than Arteta because Arteta knows it's everyone. No one's really expecting very much of him over the next 6 months. I think Lampard will be the one will be expected to get a result. And yeah, no, like I said, I'm excited for the game tomorrow. As far as the lineup goes, the players. Arteta said that most of the players had cramps after 90 minutes of just running.
Running.
So I don't know. I don't think as far as the lineup goes, I think he will probably start Pepe. I think the only reason he hasn't been starting him is because of the injury he picked up, and I think there was a knock there, which is why he came on so late. I think Martinelli and Pepe will probably both start.
I think Martinelli was injured as well, which is why he wasn't picked.
Right, he wasn't playing either.
Yeah.
I think Martinelli and Pepe will both start. Backline will pretty much remain the same. Saka has been decent as left back. So has Niles as well.
You think chance that Hector comes back in because he's been training with the squad?
No, I don't know. I think they probably might let, unless of course, I think he'll be back on the bench just
Hmm.
as some sort of
Cover.
precaution for Niles, because it will be then 3 games of super running, and you can't expect Niles to, someone who's a standby, to put in that amount of effort. I mean, you can expect him, but whether it his body holds up to that amount of physical pressure over 3 very tough games will is anybody's guess. I think he'll probably be on the bench,
Hmm.
but I can definitely see the likes of Martinelli and Pepe starting, if not at Chelsea, definitely against United, because both these teams are there for the taking, and I think Arteta is smart enough to know that.
Hmm.
Um, and just how he is as a coach and how his mentality is, he will be looking to win. He's not going to look at trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also there is a desperate need of points.
Hmm.
There's an 8 point gap between us and fourth place. There's a 6 point gap between us and fifth. So it just shows how crap everyone else has been, that we're at 24 points and we're in 11th, and there's an 8 point gap between 11th and fourth,
Yeah.
which can very easily be covered by just you need a team to just go on a run of results.
Yeah.
A team that wins like 3 games or 4 games on the trot will suddenly shoot up, find themselves in sixth, fifth.
But I think that's what Spurs did. Spurs were 14th when they appointed Mourinho, and then suddenly they're fourth and fifth. Because they strung in results of about 3 or 4 games together, and you're right. Anybody goes on that run can easily find themselves fourth, fifth, sixth in that table right now because
And
it's
I mean, people are talking about Sheffield doing really well, and they have done really well. They're in fifth. They will drop off soon enough. Wolves will also start dropping off with the Europa League, as they're also in those stages. For us, December is done, so which was supposed to be our tough period, and it was tough. I just think that it will start to get better. Nothing drastic, of course, but we will have to start picking up points, and we're at home against these two teams who we've been beating them at home as well. So I think that confidence will be there in the players.
so Callum Chambers finishes his suspension and comes back, and you think he'll come back in for either Luis or Socrates, or does he stick to Socrates and Luis for this game?
Chambers has been very impressive whenever he's
Hmm.
played.
Hmm.
Whether or not Arteta plays him, I don't know, because it's only been 1 game for him to, for anyone to get a semblance of familiarity with who he's going to pick. We couldn't do it with Emery for 18, 19 months, and
Hmm.
we can't really expect that from Arteta in 1 game. But I think it's about just getting that first win, and then if he start seeing something developing there, he'll probably stick to that same
Stick to it.
11 and just keep moving players out based on how tired they are, or on their injuries. So
Which is why I still see. I think Reece Nelson will keep a spot on in the team, and I don't think Pepe comes in. I think maybe what happens is Pepe comes in, probably does a little well into the second half, and then probably starts the United game because that's about 3 days away again. So I think he'll rotate there, but I don't think he'll drop Reece Nelson because that'll be like almost killing his confidence and killing his. I don't know, like because I think he was pretty impressive, and there were post the game. Usually, you see Klopp and Pep going to their players and hugging them and talking to them, and it's something that Arteta did as well. So, which was very comforting as an Arsenal fan to go and see him talk to players. I think he did that with, and there was a full video where for like 20 seconds or 30 seconds he had his arm around Reece and he was telling him things and he was talking to him. Again, that
oh, I
felt
haven't
really good.
seen this.
Yeah.
Is that available somewhere?
Yeah, I'll link it to you on Twitter. It's there. So it's really cool that you see him like post the game, like everything is happening after Arteta's gone, capped off the fans and all. He's gone, put his arm around Reece, and he's telling him things, and Reece is talking back to him, which is you're used to Pep and Klopp doing that, and you're not used to any Arsenal manager doing that because I mean Wenger had his policy of let the players figure it out themselves. I don't want to put anything in their heads. I think Unai Emery wanted to do that, but didn't have the communication. I mean, the communication barrier was always there between him and players, which was a constant struggle. I think Freddie did that as well, but Freddie was there for a short term, so didn't really get too much of a chance to really make an impression. But it was great signs that he did that with Reece Nelson, he did that with Ozil, and he did that with another player who I think it was Xhaka. I think
Torreira is it?
yeah,
Torreira.
Yeah. So it was good to see. It was good to see.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think there is that's definitely where I think these managers keep moving. Pep, you're right. Pep does it. Klopp does it. Arteta is with the first have seen the first glimpses of him doing it. You're right. He probably won't drop him. I think Pepe will be more used as an impact sub. My only thing is that he would want to go at Chelsea right off the bat. So maybe having a player like Pepe start off and give who's their left back again? I forget. Um,
Edison.
whoever the yeah, whoever their left back is to give them trouble right off the start. I think that might come into play. But no, you're right. If he's done that, I think he won't drop him. I think he wants to give the youngsters, especially, um, all the chances that are required. In I mean, no other game than Chelsea to test how they are. Um, so yeah, it should be exciting. I'm definitely looking forward to the game. I think it's the first time I've said that in a while out loud that I'm looking forward to us watching us play. So
The problem is that even if we go and lose against Chelsea and United, it's not the end of the world because he honestly has like one training session between the two, and you can't really do much because post the game, the next day players don't come in; they come in for like massages, and you could probably do a lot of video sessions then, but you can't do any training because the players will get fatigued. And then they have basically today where they can go and train, and you can't really overtrain one day before the game. So there's not much that he can really implement. Again, the same thing with the United game. You won't get much time to really change things around. All you can do is video sessions, and you can hope that the players can understand and take in whatever he says. So, even if we lose, people should just remember that it's not going to be the end of the world as long as there's signs of progress, which we saw during the Bournemouth game. That we held the ball better, we passed it better, we had more intensity. That's what matters. And I think if we see those signs against Chelsea and United, I'll be very happy because, as you know, we both have written off the season. It's just like an extended. Let's just think of it as an extended summer break that Arteta gets for him to work on the squad and see what improvements are required and take it from there. But yeah, main men to watch for you from Chelsea.
main men to watch, Tammy Abraham, of course.
Hmm.
Pulisic,
Mount.
Mason Mount, Pulisic. They're players who can hurt you if they're not, if they're not stopped. I also think that there might be a chance of us being a little cynical with them. Pep does that brilliantly at City with the rotational fouling bit. So I think Arteta might just bring that into the game where you just give these youngsters, um, you know, a slight nudge here and there and indulge in that. I don't think we're smart enough yet to do it, but I think he will know that you, the crowd's going to be for Arteta, and the moment something like that happens, a challenge goes flying in, or someone has been just out of pure doggedness like a Torreira just takes the ball off somebody, and everybody's going to be on our side. So I think that it's gonna be a good game. But no, outside of Tammy Abraham, Pulisic, Mason Mount,
Williams, all this stuff.
Williams also. I mean, Williams had a good game. The Spurs game was great.
Hmm.
Whether he's again, problem with Williams is that he's very very inconsistent.
Hmm.
So hopefully he doesn't read his that form of his tomorrow. But let's see. I think Lampard has a lot to think about. It was Emery, then you and I would have written this game off. But
Hmm.
tomorrow, especially after the Bournemouth game, it's going to be a fun watch.
All right. So then, what's your predictions for the game?
Oh, I'll be happy if we draw, but I think we'll win tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we will because I mean, like I said, it's not as much an important game for us as it is for Chelsea and Lampard because he will be under pressure. He's not been doing well. That's I think they're sixth game in seventh that they've lost, or some ridiculous number like that.
Hmm.
So
But
it's more difficult it'll be more the pressure will be more on Lampard than it will be on Arteta tomorrow.
yeah, I think you're right. But there'll be more pressure on Lampard for sure. Because I mean, to be fair, he hasn't had a window. There won't have been much expectations, but the way he started and the way they are right now in the season, on the table, there will be more pressure on Lampard. But saying that, I still feel that I think it's still a little early days for us. I think it's going to be about 2-2. I think we'll again dominate the game, and then they'll go score on the counter or have a free kick and score. And then we probably come back and make it 2-1, and then in the last minute we probably concede, knowing that how calamitous our defense is. But yeah, I think it's going to be 2-2, and I'm looking forward to it. Like, I'm excited. It's been a while since I've been looking forward to games. I was like, the gap between the interview that Arteta did and the Bournemouth game felt like forever. Like, I was like, like, let's get there. Like, I want to see it. And like, even Arsenal releasing these pictures and training videos, it took them so long. Like, we were all just wanting to see what he's doing, what he wants. Like, and it's just like that feeling of the weekend and the feeling of Arsenal playing again is finally coming back. And I hope that Arteta can maintain it and keep it and take us back to where we are.
No, you're right. I think I'm on the same page. I was also eagerly waiting for them to show some stuff of what he's doing. But yeah, that's been our show. Thank you guys for tuning in. I think this is the first time in a while that both Ashwin and I are really excited for tomorrow, as well as the United game on New Year's. Hopefully, the New Year's and the year ends with a win and starts off with another win.
I don't know if I should bring this up right now, but Jesse Lingard's gone through 2019 without a goal and an assist. And on the
Yeah,
first
I saw that. I saw that, and I let's not go there because
yeah.
you and I both know what happens with such stats, and they tends to blow up in our faces.
Yeah, 2020, he's going to start off the first day of the year with a goal at the Emirates and then do some sort of dance or something at the Emirates. And, oh, man.
Right. So yeah, that's it, guys. We'll see you in the next one, and thanks, Ashwin, as always.
Thank you.